Hey guys, it is Angela Smith of Anjanelle, where I firmly believe your shape or size does not determine your fly, all right? If you fly, you just fly. And now that you are making your own garments, you have no excuse but to be fly, right? So today what we are working on, we're doing a long, flowy maxi skirt with an elastic waistband and what I like to call J pockets. So let's get into everything that you're going to need, because the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make some quick patterns that we're going to need for this particular style skirt. So this may be a two-part video. We'll see. I have my muslin already laid out. I ironed a section of muslin that I'm going to need. I have my ruler, my pen, sharp scissors, a curved ruler. As you can see, it's been through some things. I have a little tape on there. I have my measuring tape just for good measures. I always keep that around my neck. And then I have a permanent marker because I like to write on my muslin with permanent marker. And of course, I want you guys to see exactly what it is that I'm doing. Now, the only two patterns that we are going to make for this particular skirt is for the pockets as well as the waistband, okay? I'm going to show you how to do that. As far as the measurements that you will need for this overall garment, you're only going to need 3 measurements. You need the waist measurement, the hip measurement, and your length, okay? So you should have these already recorded from when I did the first video on how to take full body measurements. So let's get straight into it. We're going to get straight into doing the pocket. Okay, so I have my muslin folded. My fold line is over here on the side. And the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw a 12 by 12 by 12 by 12 square. So all sides needs to be 12 inches. Luckily, my ruler only goes to 12 inches. So this will be pretty easy for me. So we're going 12 inches down. I'm going 12 inches across. And then I'm going 12 inches on this side as well. And you want to make sure it's completely straight, okay? And then my bottom is already really straight. So that's automatically at the 12 inches, okay? So you're going to write that somewhere on here just so you don't forget. I'm big on labeling. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to mark your median. So if this was 12 inches, you guys, half of that automatically is 6, right? So you're going to make a little mark at the 6, just like a little dot. And then you're going to turn your ruler and you're going to draw a straight line all the way down the middle of this square. Now, y'all know that I'm big on labeling, so I'm going to go ahead and write, this is your fold line. So you're not going to cut that, okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the middle, you know, the actual J of the pocket. So I'm going to go in about 4.5 inches. And I'm just going to make that little dot. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down 7 inches because that's how big I want my pocket to be. And I'm just going to make a little dot there as well. Let me shift my camera to make sure you guys can see. Okay, you can see it fine. All right, so I have a little dot there. Then I'm going to take my curved ruler. And I'm just going to, if you notice the curved ruler kind of looks like a J already. I'm going to make sure those 2 dots touch. So I'm going to go in here, see how I want it to look. And once those touch, I'm just going to take my pen first, go around there and see if I like it. So see, it's already kind of looking like a pocket. See, sometimes I do mine a little bit bigger than most people. You can do literally a slanted line. It's however you want your opening of the pocket to look. Sometimes I want mine a bit more curvier. So I'm going to take the bigger part of the ruler and make it match that way. So if you notice the difference, it's a little bit wider this way, and it looks like more of a J. That's the type of pocket that I want, but you can do it however you want. Literally, even if you want to just do a slant, and that's how you want your pocket to look, okay? So whatever your finished product is, whatever you want, go ahead. For me, I'm going to go over it with a permanent marker just so you guys can see it. Okay? Another thing, because I'm big on labeling, I'm going to go ahead and write that this is a pattern for a J pocket. I'm also going to write the fact that I need 2 of them. So I'm going to do cut 2 somewhere on this pattern. And you'll see this a lot if you buy commercial patterns. It has different things on it, like telling you if it's the front, telling you if it's, you know, how many you need, telling you if you need 1 for the regular fabric and 1 for the lining. If you're used to buying patterns, then this is nothing new for you. I love to label every single thing on my pocket. And this is actually called a pocket yoke. So I'm just going to write yoke, Y-O-K-E. So this is my J pocket yoke. Now, because my muslin is folded, I can either just go in here and cut 1 of these, or since I need 2, I can cut 2 of these. It really just depends on you and your mind. The way that my mind works sometimes, when I'm laying out all of my pieces, I need 2. Okay, I might see that, but I still might not cut 2. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and cut out the pocket. If it's folded, don't forget you want to open that up so that you do have your 2 pieces here. So you're just going to cut. Do not cut your fold line, okay? We're going to cut that all the way out. And 1 piece of your pattern is already done. Okay? The next thing we're going to need is the waistband. All right? So you see I have 2 pieces. If you want, you can go ahead and mark your fold lines. Let me go back here. Go up. Turn that back just a little bit so that you can put little dots in here for your fold line. And take your ruler so that you don't get confused, okay? And go ahead and put your fold line in there. You could mark everything all over again if you want, like the J pocket yoke, the 12 by 12, cut 2. You can mark all of that over again if you want. But the way that I store these, I make sure that they're together. So I typically don't transfer everything over, but it's whatever works for you and your mind, okay? Because sometimes I'm very, very forgetful. So I'm just going to take these and I'm going to sit these to the side. And then we're going to work on your waistband. Now, because the particular maxi skirt that we are making today has elastic, you're going to make your waistband a little bit bigger. Instead of using your waist measurement, you're actually going to use your hip measurement, okay? So you have your measurements right here. I'm going to show you, this is the elastic that I use. It is 2 inches wide and it's about 2 yards in here. It's the 2-inch soft waistband elastic, but there's a lot of different options that you can choose from. Do what works for you. I use the soft one. It just seems a little bit more stretchier to me and is really, really soft up against the body. But I've used several others as well. If you want your waistband bigger than 2 inches, I believe that the elastic goes up to about 4 or 5 inches. That's completely up to you how wide you want your waistband, okay? I'm going with a 2-inch waistband. So this is 2 inches. you're going to make sure when you cut out your pattern that you double that and add 1 inch, okay? So because this is 2 inches, we're going to double that, which is 4 inches, and we're going to add 1 inch, which is 5. And since I already have a straight line here from cutting out that pocket, I'm just going to use that to stack right on top so that all of my scraps I can just throw away and I'll still have all of this muslin unused. So I'm going to do 5 inches in here. I'm just going to make a little mark. And then I'm going to go the length of my hip measurement. Okay, so 5 inches wide, the length of my hip measurement. Now keep in mind, this is still folded. So what you're going to do is go ahead and take half of your hip measurement, okay? So I'm going to draw a line in here because we are going out 20 inches for me. My hip measurement is 40, so we're going to go out 20 inches. So don't forget my ruler goes to 12, so I'm just going to make a mark. I'm going to pick back up there, and I'm going to do 8 more. Let's make sure you guys can see that. There we go. Okay, so 5 inches by what's going to be 40. Then I'm going to, maybe I do need my yardstick. If you have a yardstick, pull that out. I'm just going to connect it here. And make sure it's even. If you have to go back in here and make sure your 5 inches are intact, do that. Because you want this thing exactly even. And all it's basically going to be is a long rectangle. Okay. And I'm just going to, for teaching purposes, I'm going to go back over that with marker just to ensure that y'all can see that extremely well. I didn't draw it out before hopping on this video. So and then, of course, what you're going to do is you're going to label it. So I'm going to just label it waistband. In parentheses, I'm going to remind myself that I use the hip measurement and not the waist measurement. If you do a stiffer waistband and not one with elastic, then you are going to actually use the waist measurement. But because this one is elastic, you're going to bring that all in here in a second, okay? So waistband, I put the hip measurement on here. Then I put that I'm going to add elastic. So it's all really just for memory purposes. I might even write on here for Maxi Skirt. All right, so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out. So I'm just going to have, again, one rectangular strip here for my waistband. And again, you want this to be as even as possible. I know I went kind of fast, but if you need to pause this video, pause it and make sure it's extremely even. 5 inches all the way down to the end of this strip. All right, and then the next thing that we are going to do, and I'm going to go back and double check mine as well. The next thing we're going to do before really getting into our project for today is we're going to go ahead and open up this elastic. And for the elastic, we're going to actually cut the waist measurement. You're going to cut the waist measurement. I'm going to fold this. You can lay it flat if you want. My waist measurement is 30 inches, which means folded, I need 15. Look at that. I folded that right on the dot. So I'm going to cut it right there. $15, and that is all we need. So next thing you're going to see is my actual fabric, and we're going to get straight into the craft. Okay, so I have my fabric laid out here. I kept it folded exactly like it was when I purchased it from the fabric store. I went ahead and ironed mine, so you want to do that. Another good rule of thumb, after you cut all of your patterns, go ahead and start prepping your machines. Get your serger already equipped with the thread that you need, the color thread that you need. As far as your sewing machine, you can take the color thread that you need and sit it to the side, because the first thing we're going to do is gather, and you want to use a thread that stands out, that's a little bit more poppy, if you remember my gathering tutorial on how to do that. Okay, so I have about 3 yards of fabric, which is a little bit much. I really only needed about 2.5, but I always like to buy a bit extra. 2.5 yards of fabric. This is 44 inches wide. And the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out all of my patterns first, just to make sure that I'm going to have enough. The way that I came up with 3 yards of fabric is I like to make my skirts so full that they're really double my waist measurement, okay? So that's kind of how I came up with the 3.5 yards. So very first thing I'm going to lay out are my pockets. Keep in mind we need 2 of them. So that means I can take one of these patterns and I can just sit it aside. If my fabric was laying out single layered, if it was flat, it would be different, okay? Another thing I need to do, I need to turn my fabric right side to right side. So before you, don't make this mistake that I was about to make, okay? Put your right sides to right side, lay out all of your patterns, then we're going to cut, and you'll have plenty for the rest of the skirt. Okay, so I have my patterns cut out. As you can see, I pinned them on. I did my 2 pieces for the pocket. I did my waistband. I kept it folded here on the end so that I just have one long strip. And then I kept my fabric here just in that same form. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up and I'm going to flip it, for the simple fact that this width isn't what I need. I want it even wider than that, because don't forget, I'm doing double my waist measurement in order for this to be really full and really flowy. So where this, basically I'm about to open this up, and this is going to be my top. This is going to be my bottom. This is what I love about cotton fabric, is that it has that, the savage portion of it. But because it's so straight, this would be really, really good for beginners, because all you have to do is hem it using this on the bottom. And then the same thing, it'll serve as a guide on the top. So we're about to open this up. You see how pretty my fabric is? We're going to open this up. Then we're going to fold it in half. Okay, so you have your 2, or you have the rest of your fabric. You have it folded on one side here. What I did was I'm going to cut that so that now you have 2 very, very wide pieces. I'm trying to, kind of hold this as I record. You're going to have two very wide pieces because keep in mind, you're doing double your waist measurement. Now, after you cut those two very wide pieces, you're going to take one piece completely off, okay? This is going to be your back. We're going to sit your back to the side. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the pocket pattern that we made, and I'm going to take all of these pins out of here, and we're going to just line this up with the top piece of your front piece of your skirt, okay? So right sides to right sides. Let me show you how to do this. And when you get a second, go back and mark that this is the side seam. So right here at the end of the J, this is the side seam, so that you don't get confused, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to line this up. So you see I'm just walking this up here. I'm going to line it up at the top of my selvage and line it up exact with your side seam. Then you're going to take your chalk or whatever you have, your pen, your fabric marker, and you're going to trace this curve right here, and you're going to cut that out. Okay, next what you're going to do with this pocket, you guys, if you remember, there was a fold line in here, but don't worry about the fact that we did not trace that because we didn't actually alter the bottom at all. So you're going to line up the bottom, you're going to fold that, and then you're going to iron this and press it out. After you press it out, you're going to take your serger and you're going to go all the way around the pocket, serge it, and make it extremely neat. Then I'm going to show you how to put it in.